Hi, I'm Caitlin Krause, and I'm happy to be here to talk about worlds of wonder, actualizing metaverse fluency and flow. And today we're going to be talking a lot about strategies to really spark creativity and how to build more meaning in our interactions in the metaverse. So truly, as I'm speaking here, if you have any questions, I'm the founder of MINDWISE. I have spaces and experiences I design in XR called Flow Camp, and you can reach out anytime to connect with me and deepen the dialogue. So a lot of what I'm focusing on today has to do with those experiences and how we design for better fluency, better flow, a way to really achieve our best sense of presence and well-being by design. And when I'm leading experiences, I often start just reminding, as I'll do today, to show up as our full selves. So what that means is just to start invitationally by taking a moment to really arrive. Sometimes I feel as if I'm bouncing from point to point, going from meeting to meeting, and I don't actually show up with my fullness of self. It's just a neck up type of experience. So even today, as you're here and we're together for this experience, inviting you to take a moment just to check in with yourself and arrive by feeling your feet. So this level of arrival is, again, curiosity, just exploring what it feels like. Maybe your legs are crossed, maybe your feet are against the floor. Just taking a moment to take a deep breath in and an exhale out. Just allowing yourself to shine a light of focus on the way your feet feel. And I find that this quick mindfulness exercise just brings my attention back to the present moment. If I've been running ahead of myself or ruminating in my mind, it's an invitation to really be present here and now and focused. And a lot of what I'm doing as I lead experiences, I'm also a teacher, I teach digital well-being, is I'm attending to also the problems that exist right now. So some of my research has led me to name that right now we're in a state of higher stress and anxiety. You can look at the data and statistics really pointing to the fact that anxiety and toxic stress and a feeling of overwhelm, this is rampant. And meeting needs right where they're at is part of my goal and my purpose with what I design. So throughout the pandemic, even simple decision making is shown to be even more stress inducing lately. And yet, despite all of the struggles, we tend as humans to have a positive outlook, confidence that in the long game, there is hope and we can develop better strategies. And part of what I personally look at is the need for new metrics for success, how we look at and measure well-being, and all of the opportunities using XR to really attend to these problems and provide solutions, provide experiences that give people a better sense of agency and connection in the midst of what is a very tumultuous time. So we all might feel like this some days, like life is just rushing very fast and things are happening. And in the midst of this type of an experience, we would want to feel like this, like we have a huge lake of opportunity and a contemplative environment where we can practice our best mindsets and really have a clarity of vision and focus. So I keep this in mind. And for me, wonder is part of every day, and knowing how the brain works and what is my most creative flow states. I really live this firsthand. This is a picture I took while kayaking this past fall. And just being on the lake was a moment of wonder for me. So seeing the natural world, the sky was illuminated, the lake was just kind of on fire with all the colors, the sound of the loons calling across the water, the sound of the paddle as I was making strokes in the water, the feeling exerting myself athletically and having this moment, and then returning to the work that I had to do, returning to what I was doing during the day. These moments of flow and wonder are possible in a physical world and also in worlds in the metaverse. So I'll talk more about that. But this feeling that we can have of being beyond ourselves and outside of ourselves, and also deeply connected. This is part of why my research into wonder and awe and flow states has been so enriching for work in XR, because it can bring about transformation. So I look at levels of presence, levels of connection and meaning, and actually focusing on things that matter to us in our day-to-day life and also in our business. So building better connection actually can have applications inside in terms of our personal self-development and our relationships with ourselves, and also between other people as you think about collaboration and leadership and the connection that you have with your teammates and the people that you work with. So there are all kinds of reasons that these type of experiences can have big benefits. And for me, I'm looking at that agility of the mindset meeting a sense of agency and a sense of capability with what we do in life, how our purpose and our passion can meet action to building a better world. And certainly here at GatherVerse, when we look at the 7 standards of the metaverse, we're living in a very important time right now where that action and agency, we can see it coming to fruition in giving people a lot of choice, a lot of freedom and agency. So I wrote a book last year called Designing Wonder, and it continues to develop and grow, because this book, when it came out, had a bunch of interviews, research, everything from neuroscience findings and studies into the brain and how we learn and think best, and how virtual reality experiences can be part of that learning and leadership. And also some of the history of everything from William James to philosophers throughout history, working with aspects of wonder and awe and creativity. So how we can design to really prioritize that. I believe the future is a mindset, not a time frame. Marvin Minsky also has said that. And as we look at our mindset practices, this is a way to be a futurist, a way to look at what makes a human the most creative as we are using artificial intelligence and some of our technological process in different ways. Nothing can make up that human creativity that really sets us apart from machines. So building these types of intelligences is what I am most animated by. And the more that I apply this research to experience design and work in XR spaces, the more I tend to focus on these traits of wonder and awe and flow, as we'll focus on in this talk today, because they're like the underlying factors underneath all of these qualities of intelligences. So today we're going to peel back some of the layers of wonder and flow and talk about what I mean when I'm talking about designing wonder and these experiences. And I'm someone who definitely appreciates physical presence and also virtual presence. So when the book came out, I was able to have book launch inside of VR. This is a picture in alt space of really connecting with people from around the world, having dialogue about it, increasing the sense of connection and conversation socially, and looking historically at what wonder can mean and how it can be transformative in environments. So today, as I'm talking about wonder, you might think, oh, wonder as in just querying and ideating, dreaming. I identified 5 facets of wonder. So when I'm talking about wonder, it might be intentional attention, our ability to really fix attention on a topic, a subject, look at that focus, how we can deepen our focus and then see with more clarity the different sort of nuances, whether it's problem solving or whether it's an object or something that we're studying. So that can put us into a state of wonder as we investigate more deeply. The second facet of wonder is wondering beyond the self. So it tends to be when we're in a state of wonder, suddenly we have a less strong attachment to one identity, one ego. We start to think in a way that's more empathetic and open. So you can see all the development that VR brings to really accentuate this quality of wondering beyond the self. That state of wonder allows us to, again, see from multiple perspectives, to understand others better. So that's the second quality. And there are all kinds of examples that are in Designing Wonder that animate this more deeply. The third facet, surfing wonder, is that creative ideation phase where we can ride the waves of our own thought processes. If you've ever had a richly creative session where you feel like you're in the zone, you might be surfing wonder, where you feel as if, oh, one thought is leading to the next. You're led to creative breakthroughs. And it's because you have this loose way, like a surfer does, of feeling the environment, taking some inputs, and really just being present in the moment, responsive to your thoughts. Surfing wonder is also a quality that people might have as a state of hypnagogia. If you've ever had creative ideas, either first thing when you wake up in the morning or right before you go to sleep at night, these are all qualities that I would categorize as part of surfing wonder. The fourth facet, called wonder and awe, is also known as the overview effect. And astronauts report having this as they go into outer space and stare at planet Earth and have this feeling of being both very connected as a whole human species and also separated from, again, one identity, one perspective. This wonder and awe overview effect gives us a deep sense of connection and gratitude and a feeling of wholeness beyond separated selves. And speaking of wholeness, the fifth facet of wonder is the wonder of the Gestalt. And this is a design facet, Gestalt, that the sum is greater than the individual parts. That feeling of wonder when you recognize a place in space and you know your place in it. And it just seems to flow so naturally that you know how to behave, you know what to do in a system, and you're just on. It's beautiful, and it's just sort of a seamless integration of parts. And this I would describe as the Gestalt. And again, there are case studies, all kinds of descriptions of how this feels to be in a state of wonder. For the body, mind, and expressive qualities, wonder has been shown on a spectrum to be at one end, where the human emotion of anger is on the other end. So if you think about the possibilities that we have for using wonder to benefit society and also benefit our own quality of life, it's exponential. And I keep diving more deeply into the scientific research so I can put those practices into XR design and XR creations that people can enjoy on an individual and group level. So that's wonder, which couples really well with elements of flow. So I want to talk about flow. If you've heard the word before, maybe you've also heard from one of the great researchers of flow, Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. He's known as the father of flow. And this is a quote that he says about the way it feels to be in flow. It's a state of body and mind where you might also feel that this is in the zone. You know, we've had these experiences, maybe playing a sport or doing a practice like creative writing, or even giving a talk. You can feel like you're just so on and everything's fluid. So Mihai Csikszentmihalyi did research about flow and found that there were 8 key characteristics or facets that would describe someone who's feeling flow. And these are his 8 characteristics that he isolated. Now, I took these levels that are descriptives of flow, and I can see right now so many different aspects that could be applied to VR in really interesting ways. So when we're doing metaverse designs and think about the experiences that we're having on an individual level, when you're in an experience, how many times have you been completely focused on a task when you're in a VR space? We lose sense of time. It's intrinsically rewarding. So we're doing it for the sake of the action itself and now not for some extrinsic benefit or reward. A feeling of effortlessness, that balance of challenge and skills, and a complete loss of attachment to self, this loss of self-consciousness, and feeling of agency and control. So many different aspects of flow seem perfectly attuned to being in a metaverse setting, virtual reality, and can benefit the way that we feel, the way that we flourish in life. So, and we take that feeling back into our physical presence as well. This is an example of a diagram of Csikszentmihalyi's flow states, just looking at the challenge skills balance. So skills would be ability levels. And when we look at optimizing experience and people who are really looking at peak performance training, if you look at that flow state, the flow continuum has a channel that's right between a feeling of boredom and just being completely relaxed, and maybe that's turned off, and anxiety, which would be high alert, high focus, but also high stress. So how can we take learning and leadership and every kind of experience and look at the flow channel and how to really put people into experiences and into agency that gives them a feeling of challenge and also takes advantage of the great skills that we have to exercise our creativity, our joy. This would be what we call flow. So this all leads perfectly into a mission to empower meaningful human connection. So we're looking at this and integrating flow, wonder, qualities of awe, and have it be human driven. For me, virtual reality has been a passion of mine from the beginning, and really looking at how it's a new rule of identity, new relationship with space and place. When I build experiences, I'm thinking a lot about the visceral aspects and the qualities of connection that bring us back to our most mindful and natural selves, but also let us go beyond, again, that attachment to one fixed identity and look at wonder and creativity, relationships, and well-being. So the spaces and places that I have built and created are experiences that are all under the umbrella of MINDWISE Flow Camp, and giving people a chance to experience that creativity in 360, as Stephen Kotler has called it. This is what it's all about. So as I picture myself in a virtual landscape that is surrounding me, it really is a chance to feel that sense of wellness and also explore creative possibilities, both in a solo and collaborative dynamic. I've built creativity immersives. So everybody who loves to formatively express themselves, especially with storytelling and art, there's a lot of different creative potential that we have right now in the metaverse for designing these worlds of wonder and sharing them with other people. Which brings me to a point about metaverse fluency, because sometimes we'll be talking about metaverse and people will say, well, what does that exactly mean? Or how do you define that word? And I know that right now is a time of maybe rampant buzzwords and deconstructions and sometimes seeing beyond labels. So really, if someone asks me about metaverse, I'm talking about fluency, what it means to activate and be very intentional with the choices of how we behave in a digital landscape. So if metaverse is shared and spatialized and interactive, then I'm going to talk about the next level, which is what are we building that's meaningful there? How are those meaningful choices showing up in our behaviors and in our opportunities? For me, it's the fluency, the wonder, and the flow that are differentiators, and really let people feel a sense of freedom and understand both the technology and its applications. So at times I am a guide, and I'm also a translator of letting people know beyond their curiosity what the technology offers, and then also how we can share these experiences. So when people come in and they want to have a workshop with their team, or when they want to integrate a certain technology into the flow of their workday or their personal life, I say, here, this is some context, give this a go, try it out, and also see how it feels with your own body, with your own self, with your own ability to focus, because there are many ways to experience wonder and well-being and creative flow. And it's all about having a context and having the experience for yourself. So this is one example. I've gathered people together to have a winter wonder experience where we share stories, There's part that involves mindfulness and part that's exploring and multisensory with music. And you find that people come in and they have a shared experience that is expressive, creative, social and emotional. And then they come out and say that they're in a better mindset to then apply to the work that they're doing in a physical world. So it really is non-binary. And when you get people together from all over the world, you can have these amazing experiences also going across different cultures and experiences and languages. So I found a lot about social connection that's special in terms of developing relationships and also thinking outside the box. And I've put a lot of those considerations into the research underneath the book. And now Designing Wonder has come alive in these different worlds and become an experiential, animated sort of sense of presence building. And that's the exciting part for me now, to work with emotion and work with levels of storytelling that are baked in to the context of these experiences and places. It's my belief that people have many stories and we contain multitudes. So tapping into that storytelling potential, this is how humans create meaning. And we've been doing this since cave times. People have been passing down stories in pictures and in different ways of sharing experiences. And so part of this connective vehicle is about storytelling and about giving people opportunities to creatively tap into their story and share it with others. This is an example of a workshop together in a different landscape. And also a moon garden where there's a meditative landscape with the moon. And this is more for a solo experience. So sometimes our connection and our wonder experience does not have to be in a large social setting. It could be by yourself, just having an opportunity to drop in and really have that level of focus and flow that a quality solo experience can provide in the metaverse. Built a moon garden. This is a WebXR environment with Science VR, where together we have this space for people to share together on the web, and they come in and experience that wonder and delight and flow. And the accessibility of being a web-based experience is something that can have amazing benefits. So in sum, there's a takeaway here, 3 discoveries that I've made through my experiences with wonder and flow. And the first is that we already are in a period of transformation across many verticals: learning, healthcare, the future of work. It's already being disruptive. And now it's really a question of meaning. We're in an age and stage where it's important to identify what our goals are, our intentions, and how to build meaning in the metaverse. And the second discovery, a lot of experiences that I build are based upon the hero's journey. So we can play the hero, we can also play the mentor. As we cross the threshold into unknown spaces with curiosity and with our senses heightened, we all need mentors to provide us with guidance and with past experiences that we can use to our benefit. So the more we can offer chances to mentor each other and have collaboration, this will really help us make meaning out of the metaverse at this critical stage. And the third discovery, we need these worlds, we need places that invite us to experience wonder, flow, and creative connection. Sometimes these spaces can be social, and sometimes the spaces can be an individual level that meets our needs at the time and space that we have. So that's part of why I'm really excited to let you know about Arcadia. And Arcadia is part of the FlowCamp Metaverse. It's a place and space that is accessible and easy to drop into, where there are guided exercises, and you can access this on an individual level as well. So Arcadia is natural wonderscape and meant to provide that feeling of flow and well-being, and also creative animation, where you might be able to have a few minutes or a longer time, but it meets your needs where you're at. And for me, it's just a beautiful natural space that gives that sense of flow and well-being. So one example in Arcadia, you just have the natural landscape being the background for your senses, and then invitations to explore and discover different guided exercises along the way. This landscape is a place with meaning and recognition on an individual level that part of our journey is about places and spaces for reflection, places to record your thoughts, some places to poetically slow down in order to reconnect with elements of flow, and then take those learnings back into your day-to-day practices. So we might not all be able to get to Acadia National Park, but we can have the form of an arcade mindful flow experience in Arcadia that takes us into that same mind frame. So really thinking about our well-being and the invitation to experience transformation through wonder. We all have this capacity as humans, and I love to empower that sense of connection through invitation. So thank you very much for being here today, being part of this conversation, being part of the whole dynamic of this gathering together that is GatherVerse. It's really exciting to me. This is how you can reach me. And as I said, this is an ongoing type of conversation. So as you're hearing this today and connecting with new ideas, forming curiosities that might lead you deeper in your exploration, please reach out anytime. It's a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the conference. Have a great day.